We designated spitters live every week. Live. Designated homie, cause we spit heat. We designated spitters, Francis and Pete. Yes, talking Yankee baseball, hip-hop for the streets. Yup, we designated, yup, we innovative. Yup, we designated spitters, time that you know. Yup, we designated, yup, we innovative. Yup, we designated spitters, let's start the show.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of your favorite Yankee podcast out there, Designated Spittaz. Francis, what is going on?
A lot is going on right now. I'm gonna say a lot is.
I was just about to say the mood we're in. Just so everybody knows, we're watching Game 2 right now. So this is gonna be like going back to the future, okay? This is like going back to the future. We're watching Game 2 right now. It's not looking too good for our Yankees.
By the time you guys hear this, 3 games of this Red Sox series will have come and gone. We're still watching the bottom. We're here in the bottom of the 8th of the second game, starting to record here. And yeah, man, morale is low, but it's like, listen, in terms of like us and what we're doing with this podcast and what we're doing at NYY News, business is booming, so we're doing good. We are producing, we're delivering. Always. Unlike our team,
unlike our club, always. And since I said Back to the Future, it brought a older movie up. I wanted to play for it. Now I'm gonna get this button made where I could play this anytime in the podcast. Okay, but you're gonna tell me what is this from? Okay, you're gonna know. Here it goes. Let's see. Hopefully you can hear it.
It's not for sale, Francis.
wait.
I gotta get a button made like that. I'm telling you.
Hold on, we gotta get a soundboard, man.
Yeah, we need a soundboard. You know what?
One more time.
Here you go.
Not first.
What's so funny, Pee-wee?
I gives it away.
It's not for sale, Francis.
I just wanted to hear "Not for Sale" again. Pee-wee Herman.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Classic movie, man. I heard Back to the Future.
Aaron Boone Herman. Oh, man.
No, Pee-wee Boone.
Pee-wee Boone. Oh, we need shirts.
We need shirts. Pee-wee Boone.
Pee-wee
Booney.
Oh,
man, I tell you. But no, I got to get that button made. So, like, anytime I just want to say, I'm like, we're here with Francis.
Ay, Dios mío.
What happened now?
My Lord. No. I'm just I'm enjoying this. Oh, I'm not even paying attention to this game anymore. I mean,
it's a
6-1,
hard
I was like, oh, okay. And then Justin Wilson,
So Rafael Devers just gave us the good old whacking today. So he beat us down. He got 3. My goodness, maybe I'm thinking about the future already. He got 2 3-run homers today. Gary Sanchez.
I got 1-2 run, 1-2 run.
Right. Oh, okay. So that's right. It was a 2-run and a 3-run.
So it's not as bad.
Gary Sanchez left the game with back spasms.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens there. But again, you guys are going to be way ahead of us for where we are. We'll go through the torture now, and you guys can see that. But
it's all good because we got something good for them this episode anyway. So
always. Guys, we have an interview with Gary Sheffield Jr., which was great. It was great.
Phenomenal.
So, that one, well, we're gonna play for you. We're gonna go over our first segment first. Unfortunately, our first segment was yesterday's game, which is Game 1 of the series. So let's go ahead and cut to the highlights of that game right about now. Here it goes, Francis. So, hey, man, look, we both had a lot of tweets about this game.
Yep.
We both had our anger about it, obviously. It once again came down to, who do you roll with in the end? And this time, didn't work out.
I mean, what can I say about Boone's bullpen usage?
Pee-wee Booney.
We used to, Pee-wee Booney. We used to compare his bullpen. Not compare. But I remember we used to complain. When I say we, I just mean us Yankee fans, about Girardi's bullpen usage and like Binder Joe and everything. At that point in my life, I never thought like I could see like any like worse bullpen usage than that.
It gets worse.
Yeah, I was wrong. I was big wrong, man. Like big time wrong. Aaron Boone, I don't know. Like, and yes, I know analytics people and Cashman and Fishman and all these men that are terrible.
Fishman?
they're all like whatever, but whoever's making these decisions, like, I'm sorry, Sessa threw 5 pitches, like 5 pitches. He threw 1, 2, 3, 4. He threw the ball 5 times.
Yeah.
All right. And 4 of those times were strikes.
Yep.
And you couldn't bring him back at least to start the 9th inning just to see, like, what does he have? It was the bottom half of the lineup coming in the 9th. It wasn't, we weren't going through the heart of the lineup yet. Eventually we got there because Chad didn't have it. But Sessa would have been starting the 9th inning with the bottom half of the lineup. We couldn't just see, like, he looked like he had things going. These people didn't hit the ball out of the infield. I don't even know if anybody hit the ball hard that inning in 5 pitches. Yeah. So why couldn't we just bring him out there? I don't know, because the analytics team says, no, you got to go to green there.
Well, the funniest thing is the reasoning that somebody actually asked him. I forgot what reporter it was, but shockingly somebody asked him, and his reasoning was Sessa threw 30 pitches 2 days ago. 2 days ago, folks.
I had a ham sandwich 2 days ago.
That means you shouldn't have one today.
I guess that means, like, if I wanted to have another one,
maybe I should tell my Ajit that. I have Ajit every day watching this. Maybe I shouldn't come back because he knows too many days in a row. I mean, that's only fair.
I was gonna say, maybe tell your Ajit, hey, I just had you 2 days ago.
Yeah, take a vacation.
We can't do this again.
It's time for a vacay, all right?
Like, he threw 30 pitches 2 days ago. Like, what is this? Like, do you know the kind of usage that bullpen guys got in the past? And don't sit here and tell me, yeah, but those guys, they didn't no, they lasted. The majority of them lasted.
Of course.
Entire careers. Like, you're talking about a guy who saw people come out of the pen 2-3 days in a row. Okay.
Oh, we lived through the Joe Torre era of Tanyan Sturts and Scott Proctor.
Yeah.
Okay. They pitched every game.
Come on. And I'm not saying they were throwing 30 pitches every freaking night, but don't sit here and tell me that because a guy threw 30 pitches 2 days ago, he can't throw more than 5.
Well, the point of the matter is,
what's the difference between 5 pitches and no pitches?
Luis Sessa would have pitched. If you went up to him like, Luis, you were good today. Oh yeah,
of course.
Of course.
Okay, would have been like, he would have. Did you see my inning?
Right, exactly. Did you see what I did?
He would have hit him with the. Have you seen my inning?
Right.
5 pitches. Nobody got the ball out of the infield. Nobody. They could barely touch me. It was like nubbing it all over the field, and we were down in like 2 seconds. Like, the inning was done so fast. I don't even think that. What's his name? Gardner got in position in the outfield. By the time the inning was done, Gardner was still halfway going to the outfield. He was like, "Oh, we're done." Grab my cane and start making my way back. Let me get my cane and make my way back to the dugout. I didn't even know. Like, what are we? 5 pitches, man. I don't.
Bro, again, the other thing is too. I mean, if you have a good thing about it, God, the highlights are making me a little sick here. But if you go back to the only good thing of that game was Jordan Montgomery was terrific. So I want to give Jordan Montgomery his props there. Jordan Montgomery did his thing. Undoubtedly, Jordan Montgomery did his thing. Even took, I think, like a good hour or so in between the rain delays to actually come out there and pitch again. I think he pitched one more inning after that, and then he took him out of the game. But the whole idea with that's the little part about it, right? Sessa's the little part about it. Then to look to close the game with Krisky. I'm very, very confused by this, and I'll get back to it. Let's see if we could just fast forward here and look at the extra ugliness that we got to see. Okay, so this is where we took the lead. So we took the lead here in a little Stanton bloop, and then the double by no, this is the I'm sorry, everybody. This is actually the Red Sox coming back to tie the game. So that's when the Red Sox tied it up 3-3. But here's Krisky, folks. So this is what I'm not understanding. I mean, look, that's the first pitch. And anyway, he threw 40s. But beyond that, to hell with that. Here's my tweet here that I wrote after the game. I said, I'm sorry. I don't care how depleted your roster is. Under no circumstance should Nelson or Krisky be in high leverage situations. That just cannot happen. But for some reason, this is happening often. We saw it with Nelson the other night. Look, who else do you put in, Pete? Anybody. Put a veteran in. At least they've been there and done that. You don't throw a guy like Krisky in a position like that. That's pure insanity. That's insane.
His nickname is Brooks Crisco now. Because his hand must have been like dripping with Crisco.
Covered with Crisco.
Like bro, you broke a MLB record.
Only chance he had is if Stanton was batting. That's the only shot he would have had to get a swing and a miss. Because if you saw those,
he would have struck out on the first three.
Oh my God!
Stanton would have saw the ball sailing 55 feet off the plate, and that looks amazing. It just swung out of his shoes.
Unbelievable.
This guy,
unbelievable.
I don't want to kill Brooks. He's a young kid,
right?
And he was misplaced in that situation. I want to be 100% honest with you guys. Like, listen, I'm a fan. I get emotional about these things. Last night, I was super like in a bad place with this team. Like that loss, you can't have that happen. No. I think our guest who's going to be in the interview later, Sheffield, he said it. He's like, you can't lose that game. I agree. Yeah. You just can't lose that game. Not that way. Not the way that, like, we fought back. Like, we were in enemy territory. Like, you can't lose that game. Not that way.
Games like that are the ones you can't. You can't blow those ones. And I think the Yankees have. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if you saw this stat, but I believe they have the most blown games or losses after leading in the ninth inning this year.
Probably. I know that stat was true as recent as 2 weeks ago.
I feel like they got 7 losses after leading after 8 or something like that.
It's something crazy. I know that stat was 100% true. It's still true 2 weeks ago because I think I heard it on one of the shows that I listened to.
And by the way, folks, too,
it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable.
We got to see a different Francis yesterday on Twitter. He was going at people. Francis said enough is enough. I'm not dealing with this nonsense. But that's what we do here. Look, that's why this show's called what it is. NYY News promises you that one thing. We will never sugarcoat nothing. We'll never pat Boone on the butt. Now, we will if he deserves it.
If he does something good, why not?
If he does something good, of course. We're not that type. We're not going to just, we dislike somebody. It ain't even about that. I like Boone. I think Boone's probably, again, I'll use Michael Kay's great line, right? He's a nice guy. He probably is. Bad manager, nice guy. I'm going to call him out when he makes bad moves. And you can't put cats like that in a position like this. Somebody also said to me, well, Nelson's just not good, so obviously you never use him in spots, and he has failed all the times he got. Look at the positions that dude been. I'm not saying he's going to be great, but he gets called to start a game.
He's never set up for success.
In 30 minutes, hey, you're actually starting this game in 30 minutes, right? Then he also gets, you're coming to bases loaded. A guy who walks dudes, he has no control. What are you doing?
And this is my situation. Like when I start talking about the bullpen usage and people are like, oh, but what do you want Boone to do? Be better. Be better. I want Boone to be better. I want Boone to be better. You're a Major League Baseball manager. You know that Nick Nelson has not had it at any point throughout this year. Like, I can't remember one game that I saw Nelson and was like, oh, he was great to like, he was really good. No, he has never had it. Why would you ever call that kind of arm who's having that kind of season and put him in that kind of situation? Explain that to me. Don't sit here and tell me, oh, it's not Boone's fault that players aren't producing. Shut up. That's the same thing that Hal said to us.
I can't stand that.
That's the same thing that Hal said to us. It's bullshit.
Francis, it's bullshit. The reason why they say it is because the base believes it. And this is what Felix was talking about today, too. When Felix, so Felix, you guys obviously know Felix, NY News team member with us.
Yeah.
He said it's going to be more the same because they can literally sell this to the fan base. If Brian Cashman goes out there and doesn't make the moves, it's going to be the same thing. You said it too. The same type of messaging. Well, you know, we got Sevy coming back. We got this one coming back. We said it with the interview coming up too with Chef. Chef said the same thing.
Yeah.
That's been presented as acceptable to this fan base. It's been accepted now. And it's the same thing with Boone. God forbid you knock him. Oh, you can't blame Boone. He's not the one playing. But who's the one pushing this club? Who's the one? And Chef even says in the interview, You got to remember that there's a lot of people involved in somebody's life when they're playing baseball, things of that nature, and the manager becomes like the parent, right? He's the one that disciplines at that time and goes, yeah, you're not running, you got to take a seat. Like, this got to get better.
I love that analogy.
Right, he had a couple of good ones.
Yeah, he had a couple of good ones. I don't want to give you guys too much of the interview because you guys are going to watch it.
Right.
But that was a great analogy that he made, and he couldn't have been more correct. All you people that sit there, all you Boone apologists out there, the first thing I want to tell you is you make me sick. You make me sick. You're defending a grown man.
Can't do it.
A grown man who was bullied by an umpire. You make me Sick.
That's gonna make me hot, man. You know when I hear that,
Yeah.
I start getting red.
Yeah, I don't. So that's one. And two, how are you making excuses for the man who's supposed to hold this sorry ass team accountable? Like when we're talking about how bad the team has been and how the team is making too many outs on the base pass, blowing too many games late in the game, making too many mental mistakes, swinging at bad pitches, terrible approach at the plate, too many errors on the defense. Who the heck do you want us to put that on, if not the manager in the dugout?
He sets the tone, doesn't he? He sets the tone.
Apparently on the Yankees, it doesn't work like that. Apparently it works like that for the Dodgers. Like if the Dodgers show up to a game and they're sleepwalking through the whole thing, Dave Roberts has to answer for that.
Yeah.
If the Red Sox are sleepwalking through whatever, Alex Cora has to answer for that. Dusty Baker answers for the Astros.
Yep.
Kevin Cash answers for the Rays.
Thanks.
But with the Yankees, no, we can't hold Aaron Boone accountable because he's a nice guy. Give me a break.
Yep.
I don't care.
Yep.
I'm not asking you what type of guy he is. I'm talking about the type of manager he is.
Yep.
And from what I've seen, he's not the guy. He's not the guy. These guys do not play professional level baseball under him.
He's not that guy.
I'm so emotional guy, but it's like the Yankees just officially lost this game. And it's like, I'm sick of watching them lose. I was telling Pete before we went live, I'm sick of watching them lose. And I know we won a lot in my lifetime, but you know what?
That don't got to end, though.
That doesn't have,
not at all.
Why am I supposed to be content with what I've seen when I see the potential of this team to be even greater than what they've been? I'm supposed to sit here and say, oh, no, you guys have been great enough. It's okay.
No. Things could become more competitive, and that's cool. Like, I'm willing. I want that challenge. Hey, I want to look at games back there. It's going to be a hell of a series. Let's break this down. It ain't going to be like we watch a game and it's like, oh, the Yankees are going to, we're going to run over these dudes.
I want every team in the major leagues to be phenomenal.
Facts. I want that. I want that.
To be the best they can be.
100%.
So that when we beat them, I feel even better about beating them.
Of course.
Okay, so it's not about it. But my whole thing is like, bro, I had to watch the Red Sox celebrate winning the division here in the Bronx.
Yep.
On our field.
Yep.
In 2018. And then a couple weeks later, I got the privilege of watching them celebrate winning the ALDS in a gentleman's sweep. We only won one game. They won the other three. And celebrating on our field again. And then going into our clubhouse as New York played in our stadium and playing it in their clubhouse while they popped champagne and laughed at us. In 2019, I got to watch Chapman smile after giving up another home run to end the series and send us home and smile on the mound. I got to watch that and watch the Astros celebrate for beating us again. In 2020, I got to watch the Tampa Bay Rays, who were
outplay us, by the way. Completely outplay us.
Who were the littlest of little brothers, if you guys remember. Oh, it's Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay kicked our ass all year last year.
Yep.
And then in the playoffs, cements it. They beat us. They're playing New York, and these people, I mean, you know what? It's like if a bum off the street, they're anybody. It's just an anybody thing. We just beat the Yankees and play their song. I had to watch G-Man Choi in the dugout with a fat cigar in his mouth, saying New York. Like, I wanted to punch this dude in his face.
I'll smack the damn cigar in his mouth. What are you doing?
But I can't punch him in the face. Why? Because you beat him. You owned Garrett Cole.
Facts.
What can I like? You did. That was our biggest acquisition. The guy makes $36 million a year to pitch, and you owned him. Smoke the shit out of that cigar, bro. Enjoy it. That being said, all of that is to say that here in 2021, after all of that, I have to watch this product of team and not hold the people accountable who are responsible for giving me this product as a fan. I'm sorry.
Just that to me.
Not gonna happen.
Those are just bad fans, and I never look to place judgment on fans, but I'm also not the type. These are, by the way, too. These are the same fans that'll say, "Well, you can't celebrate if the Yankees come back and win. You're not allowed to celebrate." Well, who the hell are you? Like, honestly, who are you? Who are you to tell anybody that they can't knock their team when they're supposed to be knocked and they can't root for them when they should root for them? I mean, who are you to even say that? Matter of fact, anybody that does that, let me know. I'm going to send you a DVD of the movie The Fanatic. Again, we promote that movie. There's a couple of things we promote on here a lot. John Travolta, if you're out there, hey, come on. Come on down, Johnny.
Come
on down.
Talk to your boys.
Yeah, come talk to us. But anyway, guys, let's cut to it really quickly. You're going to enjoy this. You're going to like this. It was, again, you guys know we don't hold nothing back. It's a great, great interview. Watch this entire thing. Here we go with Gary Sheffield Jr. Enjoy, guys. Hey, everybody. What is going on? Francis and Pete here. We got a special guest today for Designated Spittaz. Gary Sheffield Jr. Gary, how you doing?
I'm good, man. How about you guys? You guys doing all right?
I am great.
Doing well.
I am absolutely wonderful. Now, of course, the big story is our beloved New York Yankees. And Gary, I follow you on Twitter. I know Francis also follows you. I feel like the mindset for the Yankees is very similar. We have the similar mindset of where this team is right now. So you tell us, what are your thoughts currently on the 2021 New York Yankees?
Well, the 2021 Yankees have just been – I was pretty disappointed, honestly, on opening day. I don't like the roster. I'm not a huge fan of the boomer bust guy. I know I've definitely said that I want to see Joey Gallo in New York, but at the same time, it's like there are like 4 or 5 guys in the Yankees lineup where I'm like, is he supposed to be a New York Yankee? I mean, I talked about even when healthy, Aaron Hicks. I was talking about, I was a big Clint Frazier guy. He doesn't look like a Major League Baseball player to me. I mean, it's just so far, he just doesn't look ready to play. Obviously, Aaron Judge will always deal with his health issues in general. So we know what to expect there. But Gleyber Torres, huge steps back. He's been a lot better lately. I've been happy about that. But in general, it's the New York Yankees. They just, something's got to change, dude. I don't know exactly what it is, whether or not they need a new general manager, new ownership. I'm not sure what it is, but to me, it doesn't feel like they feel like it's boom or bust in terms of winning a championship the way Jeter was, the way Steinbrenner was. It just doesn't seem that way. So I just don't like the mindset of this team right now. Maybe the last 2 or 3 days, I've had a lot more fun than I've had the entire year watching Yankees baseball. So I'm going to hope that that's somewhat what we're seeing.
If I could ask you, out of all the guys you just named, who has been the most disappointing or shocking this year?
To me, that was Aaron Hicks. And Aaron Hicks is he pretty much solidified himself as a bad contract to me. And I know in 2017 or 2016, one of them, where he was his first year in New York, he was actually pretty good. I mean, 256, he played a decent center field. He had a cannon. I know we all watched. He threw 105 into home plate. Yeah. And now when they throw Aaron Hicks on the screen defensively, they tell players, you have the green light to go home on Aaron Hicks's arm. Yep. He doesn't have power like he used to have. He can't run and he can't stay on the field. He's not hitting for average. It's left-handed Aaron Hicks is an out and he can't stay healthy. So I basically realized that he was a complete disappointment in New York, and I feel like he's like Jacoby Ellsbury at this point. He's just out there whenever we get a chance, and he's just not good.
Yeah, undoubtedly, you're right. One of the things that we've talked about for a while on here is roster construction. And I mean, that goes all the way to the philosophy, right, of the team Brian Cashman put together. And you're right. I mean, you're spot on when it comes to Aaron Hicks. He's a name that, my goodness, we hear about a lot. And the only thing you hear about Aaron Hicks now is how the hell do they get out of this contract? How do they move that? How do they move on from that? Because you made a good point. You said that, the last couple of days has been more exciting. And it has been just because something that we've been calling on for a while is get some of these young guys up here. What the hell is the reason that a lot of these younger guys are still in the minor leagues when the major league guys, you mentioned them, Hicks, we saw early, we saw Clint Frazier batting 170. And all these guys in this lineup that just have not got a shot. We saw, as I call him now, Goat Allen and upper echelon Florial. We've seen guys come in and do something decent. And it's funny because somebody told me earlier, I know Michael K said something about they're playing boonie ball. I'm like, boonie ball? It's 90 something games for him to make a difference. And somebody said, well, they didn't have the lineup before to do that. Understandable. But when a team struggles the way they did on the offensive side, something got to change. And they refused to do that for this long. And now you're seeing it. So I think that ties into what you talked about. I think it's philosophy. Do you agree with that?
I do. And honestly, watching the New York Yankees play, it just feels like this is the first time where the players, even when healthy, are just not remotely competitive with the rest of the teams that you see. I mean, if you watch the Chicago White Sox play, they try to hit home runs too. A lot of these teams are trying to hit home runs, but they can do other things. They can put the ball in play. I know plenty of people have said Tony La Russa's philosophy has helped Tim Anderson. Some of that's personnel, more DJ LeMahieu style players. You saw it with Adam Frazier, who I said I would love to see on this team. I don't understand how you can possibly have more Luke Voigt type players. You have 230, 240 pound guys who are 6'4", trying to hit the ball out of the yard, who are right-handed. You can't have 9 guys in your lineup doing the same thing. And then when 2 or 3 of them go down with injuries, now you have 4 or 5 guys trying to play like Mark McGwire and nobody who can get on base. And then plus, we're spending $40 to $50 million on the bullpen. When I have never seen that be a success story anywhere across baseball. I've never seen people allocating assets to get in Zach Britton and Aroldis Chapman making $10, $15 million a year. Zach Britton and Aroldis Chapman, if we got rid of those 2 guys right there, you could afford a Mike Trout with that. That's an everyday player. I mean, that's a lot of money. $30 million, $25 million. That's enough for a really good player in Major League Baseball. So I don't understand what this team is doing with their money. And by the time you look up, you see a $200 million payroll, but you don't see $200 million worth of players. You see a bunch of average guys. And I know most of these players on this team have done something really well in the last 5 years, but I know for a fact that only 2 or 3 of them have done anything recently. Now that's a problem to me when you're looking at a roster. That's a misfire on Brian Cashman's part and plenty of other people who have vouched for some of these players.
Yeah. You bring up a really interesting point. We've been talking about this at NYY News for probably about a month now with the bullpen and having 30 million tied to just 2 relievers with Britton and Chapman going into 2022. Now, when you look at that, right, for me, it raises the question, are championship teams in today's era of the MLB constructed with the big expensive closer and the big expensive setup guy anymore? Or is that something that the Yankees like really need to move away from? Like, is it possible to envision this team being a championship contender with a closer role that's really more by committee than it is like, oh, that's Chapman's job?
To me, you have to find ways to trust guys out the bullpen, whether it's Luis Severino, who I know we've been talking about whether or not he's going to be out the bullpen. You've got to figure out. I know they did it in St. Louis. They went and I think it was Reyes who's going out there, Alex Reyes. He's going out and he was a homegrown guy and he's supposed to be a starting pitcher. You throw him in the bullpen and look what they have. They found themselves a closer, a power arm. We have that in Severino. Is that to say he can be a closer? We have no idea, but we know he had the stuff, 98, 99 miles an hour to go try to do that. Now, if you can find a way to have Severino go to the bullpen, potentially as a super reliever, where he can give you 2 or 3 innings the way that Andrew Miller was doing for the Cardinals and I can't remember what other teams he was playing for, but it's like if you can find ways to bridge that gap and use young guys to fill those roles, you can now start getting into play with Manny Machado at third base, which we've always tried to. Bryce Harper. We have not gone after these position players the way we should have. You look across the field, left field, Brett Gardner. We've really been saving money on Brett Gardner for a long time now, even beyond his productive years. Center field, we're stuck with Aaron Hicks. Right field, we're with a player who we're not even paying yet. Third base, Gio Urshela, we got a discount on him via trade from Cleveland. Shortstop, Gleyber Torres, we swindled a team with a trade with our closer. Our second baseman was DJ LeMahieu, who nobody wanted. So really, the Yankees aren't going out and outbidding anybody. First base is the same thing. So to me, if that's the way we're going to build our team, trying to find discounts in production, where we're trying to find guys that nobody wants, that we can find value, we're not going to win a World Series title. So I hope that they can find a way to stop spending a bajillion dollars on bullpen guys and go find ways to find some superstars. I mean, you have to go spend. It is hard. And I know people don't want to say, well, you can't make the payroll $250 million. But look, If you're going to spend $250 million, that's because you're wasting money elsewhere. And that's what this team's doing.
Yeah, I agree with all that. The great point that you made is about the bullpen. And like Francis said, it's something we've been talking about for a while.
Yeah.
And you bring up a great point. Severino coming back could hit the bullpen up, but then they got guys like, we see a Justin Wilson signing. We see him still on this team, but then you got an Albert Abreu, right? Who comes up and it's finally doing well. Here's a guy who they traded for a while back, never really, got everything going great, always injured. And now you find a home for him in the pen. And they kind of just shoo him away again. He's like, all right, you're back down because Justin Wilson is here. Like that makes any damn difference at all. But Justin Wilson. But you're right. They got guys. Luis Gil's a guy. Luis Medina. They got these guys coming up quickly now who could really make a difference out of the bullpen, which I can't imagine. Look, I'm a big Britton fan. I'm a big Chapman fan. I can't imagine signing over a check to these guys next year, 18 million, 14 million. That's insanity.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's ludicrous, right?
It's absolutely insane.
It doesn't make sense to me. And we're talking about $32 million. I mean, that the $34 million, something, I'm not a mathematician, but it's like, that's enough money to where you can go get a Trevor Bauer. You can go get a Mike Trout type guy with 36 million. Because the Yankees their payroll's not at $200 million because of Garrett Cole's $36 million deal.
That's right.
They're at $200 million because Aaron Hicks is making a fat chunk of change, because Aroldis Chapman, who we're essentially throwing out there as a project to try to fix, we're trying to figure out if he can find his magic again. I don't know many players around baseball who are making upwards of $15 million who are projects. That's a complete waste of money, and it's a misfire. And I know Chapman's done a great job. He's been an excellent Yankee. I thought he's done a really good job. But you can't have a guy making $15 million when you need it elsewhere. You need it as position players, a left fielder, a Brantley, potentially as a bat out of Houston, which I would have loved. They need more assets in the field, and their everyday players just aren't good enough.
So, right, I think we're all in agreement that like position players is where the money needs to be spent. So that being said, looking forward to this winter, we've got a ton of talent that's going to be available. The question mark is that the majority of this talent happens to play shortstop, and the Yankees have a guy in Gleyber Torres who they seem at least at the moment to be reluctant to moving off of that position. So I guess the question I'm posing to you would be like, can you see the Yankees making that splash and going and signing Trevor Story or Baez or even a Correa? I know some Yankees are about Correa. Why would you want the guy's box office? Listen, I get it, but could you see the Yankees making a move like that?
Well, I've always been a supporter of the Yankees going out and finding that shortstop like a Trevor Story, shift everybody over, Gleyber Torres to second base, DJ LeMahieu to first base. Potentially you can move Luke Voigt, have some value there, go get an arm. But can I see it happening? I can't. I mean, I can't see that happening. The Yankees are probably going to go find an arm, try to go find a 2 out there. They're going to sell us. We're going to be gaslit. That's as simple as I can put it. They're going to gaslight you. A lot of fans are going to gaslight us and say, well, Luis Severino's on his way back. We see him as an ace type arm. We see him as being healthy. We worked him in out the bullpen late in the season. We trust that he can be a starter for us next year. They'll go find another 1 year, 2 year guy like a Corey Kluber, and then we'll push into next season. And us being Yankees fans, we love this team. As much as we struggle, we love this team, and we will support the team. And as hard as that is, they figured us out in terms of how to run this business. This ownership has figured us out. George Steinbrenner knew that this is something that he could have done. He could have made this play, and he never did it once. It wasn't about consolation prizes. It wasn't about how can we get our fans to feel a certain way. It was about winning, and he took it personal. And when he's taking it personal, we take it personal too, which is why we run shows about this team. And I hope things change. I hope I'm surprised, but no, I can't see it happening.
Yeah, wow. You hit it on the head, man. Quite seriously, you hit it on the head. It's something that, my goodness, for years now I've been harping on this. I've been telling fans, I did something yesterday. I wrote a tweet. I said, at the end of the day, do not trust anything this leadership says anymore, because you can't, because we're going on years now of gaslighting. You're right. It's the same old, isn't it? It's like you said, I could see that this year, and I hope I'm wrong, but I could see it. I could see them saying the same thing. Our trade deadline is going to be the guys coming back from injury. That's gonna be who fills in for us, and we feel that's enough. It's the same thing. Or we tried. Teams wanted more from us. Bullshit. They didn't want. No, come on. They didn't sit there and say, "Oh, Brian, you're the big Yankees." What have you guys done? Like, let's be real here. You haven't done nothing to make us feel like we're gonna try to shortchange you compared to another club. No, you're just he's been very unwilling to do what it takes. That's why I've been saying for a while now, something has to change with the way Brian Cashman is. Because look, I love prospects as much as everybody else. There's guys where I feel like if you're gonna give them up, you want control, right? You don't just want to get a one-year guy. Like somebody, like I talked today, I said, I've been told for a while that Gallo's the top guy on their list who they want. Let's play along and say they get Gallo. Now you got Gallo for next year, but then him and Judge are free agents. Yankees aren't keeping both of them. No way.
No.
So now you're making your choice off of a guy you're going to have to give up some legitimate prospects for in your face of your club on who you bring back. It's not good baseball. It's ugly.
Yeah.
And it's a strange way to be.
If you're the Yankees right now, you need to be making calls for a shortstop, position players out there that you really need. We're talking about Trevor Story, the Corey Seagers, and obviously the Dodgers are going to move away from him right now while they're contending. But when you call teams, you call Colorado and say, get a deal done. We'll overpay in terms of prospects. We need to get talent in here. You don't tell them that, but that's what you do. You go out there. Why is the Los Angeles Dodgers, why is their payroll $254 million? But the New York Yankees are talking about the cap to their fans on Twitter. Why is that the case? Why am I having Brian Cashman going diving or whatever that he was doing off the side of a building and sleeping outside, a bunch of nonsense? I don't care what Brian Cashman's doing. You know what I mean? So I understand he's trying to be relatable and act like, well, we want to build this thing the right way. Half the fans are obsessed with prospects. I'm obsessed with winning. I want to win a championship. I don't care if this guy is from St. Louis, if he's from the Colorado Rockies. I don't care, because this whole roster, we didn't draft this roster at all. We didn't draft DJ LeMahieu, yet we love the guy. We love producing baseball players. That's all it comes down to. Yep. When my dad came to the team and he was performing well, people still remember that he performed well, and they loved that about him. Yep. The same with Alex Rodriguez when he came through in 2009. People love that he came through and helped them win a World Series. But to sit here and act like we're obsessed with prospects and we're worried about overpaying, when have the Yankees ever overpaid? Ever? I've never seen some big prospect that's going out. I mean, we could have had Jose Fernandez. We could have had all these different Jesus Montero we held on to instead of getting King Felix, and we were worried about paying extra money. Why are we so worried as the New York Yankees? We do have the money. We should be spending that money. And I hope that this management eventually figures out that they've got to break the mold that they've gotten accustomed to in order to achieve goals that they're not accustomed to anymore. They're not winning. So we need them to do things differently and at the very least try something new to achieve some type of victory.
Let me ask you this. Say, things continue more or less the way it's been so far this season, and the guys get back off of COVID and IL, but the team continues to be a 500 team, and they end up falling or staying out of wild card contention, and they miss the playoffs completely. Do you see anything changing? Like, there's a lot of people out there that are like, oh, if they don't make the playoffs, Boone is 100% gone, or they're going to go for Cashman, or they're going to go for this. We've spoken about it. I know Pete feels similarly. We're not 100% sold that Hal makes that move. We know a move should be made, but do you think it actually happens?
No, I see Judge coming back. I mean, I want Judge back, but I see everything, all systems go. As long as we feel like we're in it, we will support the team. The Yankees, there's no reality where the New York Yankees, no matter the outcome, unless they're the worst team in baseball, as long as we're 500, we're always a little hot streak away. And Michael Kay and all these great broadcasters are going to run their shows, and we're going to watch them because we want to see if the Yankees can figure it out. As long as we're close, that's all the Yankees ownership needs. And we will see, and it'll be very apparent based on the moves that are made. If you go get a Trevor Story, Joey Gallo, and the Yankees are actually feared in terms of the players that are on the field, that's when we'll know how serious this ownership is about winning. But until then, nothing's going to change.
Right. So I got to ask you this question because Aaron Boone. So Aaron Boone's the Yankee manager now. I tell you what, man, I did a video, a reaction video a while back when Aaron Boone said flat out he got thrown out of a game and he said that he was bullied by an umpire. And I flipped. I lost it. I said, this is insane. This is absolute insanity. I can't believe
he said this. When did he say
oh
this?
my goodness, Chef.
You got to share it with
I got videos.
I'll
send you the video. He said it. No, he did. He did it at the press conference. He got thrown out of the game and he goes, I kind of feel like it was bullying. And I said that night, I told France, I told everybody, I said, guys, I'm going viral tonight because I'm going to release I couldn't, to this day, I'm shocked about it. I'm still shocked about it. And
That's
I said, it's going to be on MLB Network and everything. Not one reporter spoke about this. Nobody disappeared. Right. I said, what the hell? Am I the only person who noticed this? That a grown man said a major league umpire bullied him. So anyway, I want him gone. I want him fired. I think he's a horrible fit for this team. I think, people talk about, well, I hear the Yes Network. Well, the player development people, they're the reason why guys are getting thrown on the bases. But who's the guy that's controlling the club now to bench them if they do this? Or Glaber and Sanchez making these boneheaded plays, and then they get a pat on the butt and say, go back out there. You're good. Don't worry about it.
The manager's like the parent. Like you're a parent. You send your kid to school. All these people have their hands in how you get developed. Your school, the counselors, your friends, all this stuff, right? It all plays a role. That's all development stuff. But what happens when Glaber Torres rolls over to the pitcher's mound and he walks over to first base? That's Aaron Boone. You know what you say? Send him down to the minor leagues.
Bingo.
You walk down there and say, send him down to the minor leagues. You know what happens 5 days later, 10 days later when he comes back? Glaber Torres is working harder than you've ever seen him work because he would never take it for granted. That's how strict the Yankees should be running things. We don't have time to be losing games because of a lack of effort, a lack of focus. We need players ready to play right now. The streak has to start literally right this second. So yeah, I'm not opposed to letting go of Aaron Boone. I've always said, to me, the players aren't good enough anyways to go win a World Series. So I'm not too fired up about Boone right now. He's not my priority.
Until you see that video when he says he was bullied, then it's going to be a big difference. Let me tell you.
That's bad. And I know for a fact Buck Showalter would never allow that to happen. Buck Showalter, that's just not going to happen. And you're a reflection of your manager. You're going to embody his personality. I know the White Sox have done so with La Russa, even though I've said that he was not the right guy for the job, too old. But man, that's just not good. When you're sitting in the dugout and your manager's saying that post game, how do you go home as a New York Yankee inspired to show up?
That's what I've been
for game
saying.
2 of a series, for a finale of a series? To me, that's embarrassing.
Do you subscribe to this? Because there's this theory out there that Yankee fans, we're just spoiled little brats and angry. And if we watched baseball like this, Don LaGreca says it. I'm a faithful Michael K. show listener. Don LaGreca says this all the time. The thing about Yankee fans is that they only watch the Yankees. They don't watch baseball. Mind you, I stay up to like 2 a.m, like finishing up the West Coast game and watching highlights.
Right.
And he says that because we don't watch other teams, we think that our team is the only team that has these struggles. Do you subscribe to that? Because me personally, when they say, oh, the Yankees aren't hitting, but nobody's really hitting, I disagree. I couldn't disagree more. Like, you know how many Padres games I've watched? You know how many Dodgers games I've watched? You know how many Oakland games I've watched? Like, why is it that, oh, we're just being spoiled saying, oh, our team's not hitting and these guys need to show up? And it's like, no, nobody's hitting. Like, I don't think that's true.
No, and obviously, if let's just say the Tampa Bay Rays, if you told them starting next year, you're going to push your payroll up to $200 million. Okay. Now, what that means is beer is going to go up to $20. Everything's going to go up. Season tickets, the stadium's going to have renovations. You're going to be paying extra money for your ticket. Okay. So this is like getting a membership to a fancy gym by your house. Now, the barbells can't be peeling. None of this, everything is going to have to reflect an expensive gym. If I'm going to pay $60 a month to go to your gym, I expect $60 a month product. That's what I want. I want the nice treadmills. I want everything to be nice, because to be frank, as much as fans don't want to believe this, Yankees fans do more to be a fan of the Yankees than any other fan in the world. We travel more. We're on the road more. We spend more for tickets, spend more for beer. We spend more for a mediocre pretzel at the park. And we love doing it because we love this team. But we love this team more than most people love their team because winning creates love. Winning tradition creates that love. And if they're going to ask us to spend extra money on them, I want them to spend extra money on us.
Facts. So the last question that I have, I don't know, France, you have another one after this, but the last one that I have for you, maybe this might be it, Francis. I know where my opinion is of it, and neither one would shock me. We're after the deadline. Deadline's over. Deadline is passed. What have the Yankees done? What do they do? Do they do anything at all?
I would assume they go grab one of the guys from Pittsburgh. I think Adam Frazier actually does. I think they find a way to go get him. I mean, I hope so. I don't see how you can possibly, it's a left-handed bat. This is a DJ LeMahieu style player. Put the ball in play. He's a postseason type guy. He's going to hit good pitching. That's the type of guy the Yankees need. They need to be able to slot in a guy who you want him up in the clutch late in the game. He can handle the bat. And it really settles people. He will settle people into their positions on the field. When you can have a guy like that, now it allows DJ LeMahieu, and I believe that this whole lineup has really worn on LeMahieu, actually. And you start to see the 9-hitter trying to hit for power, the 2-hitter trying to hit for power, and they're moving Aaron Judge all over the field. Aaron Judge needs to be in a power spot in the lineup, 4th or 5th, probably 4th, and you can have guys on base, clog the bases, and it changes the way he's pitched. Now all of a sudden it's just trickling down the entire lineup. I think they find a way to get Frazier. I think Gallo's going to be a little steep because they have a year of control after this year. And I think that the Yankees are not going to play in that deep of water. But I know I'm not going to be satisfied because the Yankees need help on both sides of the ball. They need some of these guys, some of these prospects like Frazier, and they needed Hicks to play well this year. And now it's probably going to be Florial playing center field, and hopefully Frazier can find it in late in the season. But I know we won't be satisfied.
Yeah, and I'm just before you jump in there, Francis, I wanted to bring that up. You're right. One of the things I've been harping on, I just made a video yesterday actually saying that Frazier is the guy. Undoubtedly, he's the guy the Yankees got to go get. Just because it makes all the sense in the world, right? You got now you got a really good second baseman, which LeMahieu already is, but now you move LeMahieu to first base, you improve your defense overall in the infield. That's very, very important. You've added all this contact. The one thing the Yankees have missed, and I don't know where they got away from this, even when your father was a Yankee, the Yankees had a lineup that would draw a lot more pitches, right? They would always have a top of the order that you were scared. Even in 2009 when they won Jeter and Damon, you're like, my God, like these guys are getting runs immediately. Now it's like if Judge doesn't homer, or if LeMahieu doesn't actually get a hit or a double to get in the scoring position, because first base isn't safe on this club. They grounded to so many double plays, it's never safe.
No. Yeah, you're good as out at first base.
And then when there's a guy on second base, they don't move runners over either. So that's your boonie ball for Michael K. That's apparently boonie ball, I guess. But I mean, overall, you are so spot on. I'm happy that there's other people out there that obviously recognize this. And I guess that's what bothers me as a fan so much, is that there's so many fans that recognize this, but the general manager doesn't seem to notice this. And,
let me say
that
this.
pisses me off.
They all notice this. Everybody, the front office notices this.
They have to.
Michael K notices this. But the thing is, they're also hired by the people who are cashing these checks.
Bingo.
Yes Network, you cannot have Michael K. I love Michael K. I've told him off record, on record, that he is one of my favorite people in the world. I love listening to him. I love his opinions. I love everything he stands for. But it's not good business for the Yankees to have Michael K ripping the Yankees the way we do, because we're very critical of this team. I know he's still critical and he wants a better product, but he can't go out there and say, well, this is just negligence on the part of the Yankees to pretend that we don't need changes and drastic ones. And they're just not going to do so because of the position that they're in. And I hope that, God forbid, someone in this Yankees front office is listening to talking heads like yourself and are actually looking at things like this and saying, at some point, we actually have to do something, regardless of what. Maybe they're not backed into a corner. Maybe they can pedal their feet and just throw us into the same product next year, and we're going to get excited. And that's technically true, but I just hope that at some point they just had enough and they make a decision on their own. That's going to be on their own, where they decide they're going to have to be more like, run the team as an ownership, more like my father ran this team. And it doesn't have to be a spitting image of George, but it's got to be somewhat in that direction. It's got to be something.
Facts.
Well, my last one. This is it's a pretty simple question. Life on the line. You can't lie. You got to just go with your 100% gut feeling truth, what you believe. In the next 5 years, do the New York Yankees win a World Series championship? That's the first part of the question.
Mm-hmm.
And is Aaron Judge on that team?
I would say Aaron Judge, no matter what, will be on this roster. I'll start with that because Aaron Judge is making this team too much money. He's like Jeter. And I know people don't want to say, oh, he's not Derek Jeter. He's not Derek Jeter. But in terms of revenue, the big number 99 standing in right field and then having the judge, like all the Aaron judges out there, that will never go away. That will never stop making this ownership money. And Aaron Judge is a great player at that. So no, I don't think he's ever going anywhere. If we win a World Series, it's going to be with him. But do I see this team winning a World Series? It's really hard to win the World Series. So it's always hard to say whether or not you're going to win a World Series. I would say yes. And just because I assume the Yankees are going to find a way to get Hicks off the books, I think some of these relievers are going to get off the books. And I think they're going to see some real changes in terms of position players and how that money's spent. I think you'll see that change. But I hope that turns into a World Series. I know we've gotten relatively close. I mean, I wouldn't say we got close, but it should really help. And it's going to be a crapshoot in the postseason. So I'll say yes. I'd say we'll win a World Series sometime in the next 5 years. But that's the sick part, right? We still have hope despite what we're seeing on the field.
That's what makes us fans, right? I always say fan is short for fanatic.
It is.
Yeah, so that's what it is. But Gary, we greatly appreciate it, man. Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Again, guys, go follow Gary on Twitter. Always has some great takes and great stuff today, man. Always really went along. It's funny because it went along with a lot of what we've been saying for a while. So
great. And it wasn't prepped, guys.
No, I don't do the whole prep thing.
Yeah.
We're all good to go. So Gary, again, man, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
All right, Pete and Francis. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All right. So there you guys have it. By the way, too, Gary, I sent him the Aaron Boone clip and his response was, he said, bro, you got to be kidding me. No, I'm not. I told you. So I was kind of shocked when he said he didn't know about the whole Booney, Pee Wee Booney over there getting Pee Wee Booney. I love it. Getting bullied.
Sure. I'm designing that shit tonight.
You got to get it, man. You got to get it. Pee Wee Booney. He didn't know about that, but now he knows about it. So yeah, man. Again, shout out to Gary Sheffield Jr. for a wonderful interview. Had some great conversations offline too, but Sheff's a good guy, man. Definitely go follow him. Follow Gary Sheffield Jr. Always interacts, so that's another cool thing. He's usually always interacting with his fans, so and people that follow him. So definitely follow him. But Francis, what were your takeaways from that interview?
First and foremost, like you said, I just want to echo the gratitude there. Thanks to Gary, that giving us the time, and like the conversation was like super organic. Like we were really candid, all of us. So I appreciate that. My biggest takeaway was just I see that as polarizing as like the three of our thought process can be, right? The three of us, our thought process, like, because Gary's pretty polarizing on Twitter. Everybody knows that. Either you love him or you hate him.
Yep.
Same thing with you, right?
Yep.
I noticed, like, I've always followed like those kind of people. Now that people are hearing my voice a lot more, it's getting to that point where they're realizing I'm gonna be that type of guy. Either you're gonna love Francis Lee or you're gonna hate him, or whatever. But as polarizing as whatever, like, we were pretty much on the same page about like the state of the union with this team.
Yeah, facts, 100%.
And it's
100%.
And I was like, it was just good. It was just good, not good, because like it's sad when you think about it, because it's like, yeah, we're on the same page that the team is like in a really bad place right now. But I also felt good because I was just like, I like this guy's opinion about baseball. I respect it about baseball. I know that he knows his stuff. So it's like, yeah, when we're all talking and it's just like all of us are saying the same exact thing, I was like, okay, like that was interesting.
Yeah.
And Yeah, I mean, great points. I mean, the points that we made about Boone, like I already ranted at the top side of this episode before the interview about Boone, so I'm not going to go there. But yeah, another big takeaway was just how we were all on the same page about Boone not being the guy, basically because he's a beta.
Yeah,
And,
facts.
like what fan wants a beta managing their team?
No, not at all. Not at all. And I mean, the whole thing too, one of the other great points he brought up was basically talking about the roster construction to have the type of money they're putting into this team. You don't see it on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a great point. You know, it's funny too because there was a couple of times in there I'm like, it's funny. I mean, we've been harping on the same thing, talking about $30+ million for 2 bullpen guys. You know, that isn't worth it. You know what I mean? All that stuff's not worth it. We know we got to figure stuff out there. But even when it came to the trade deadline, you know, we had the same mindset as us. Adam Frazier seems like the best fit. He just does. And
Yeah.
like I was talking today to a few people and everybody said that Adam Frazier, they're actually looking for potentially like the first asking price people are hearing is 3 top 10 prospects. And they know he's available for next year too. So hell, the Pirates could not be asses, but they could be as wise and as smart as they want to be. Well, you know, if you don't give us what we want, we'll just hold the dude. I mean, we got another year with him. So it ain't like we have to deal him right now.
They're not desperate.
You know, maybe we get a little more from him now. But again, guess what? Maybe next year too, he's the same guy and somebody needs him. He's going to be valuable. Everybody needs a second baseman or a left fielder or a third baseman or all these positions he could play and go from there. But, you know, you're right because he kind of mentioned the same thing as if we're going to trade any big name, you want control, right? And that leads me into a topic that I want to get into here. So let me go ahead and throw this out here. Let's jump right into it. This is going to be the big meat of the conversation, I'm sure. Here's a tweet from Mark Feinsand today about Trevor Story. The Yankees have checked in with the Rockies on Trevor Story per source. Though they are one of a number of teams believed to be interested in the shortstop, given Voigt's health in 2021, Story would be a sensible fit in New York's infield. LeMahieu at first base, Torres at second base, shortstop, Story, and Urshela at third base. Now, there's also been a rumor that they're actually the team, and I think this was Dan Federico said this, the Yankees are actually the team who asked about possibly Story playing center field for them. Never played center field in his life, but they're actually the team that mentioned that topic. Now, we talked about this before we went live, and I'll talk about it again. When it originally came out that there was a team interested in playing Story, I said, shit, it's the Yankees. They play everybody out of position, don't they? That makes no difference. I'm sure it's the Yankees. And ends up likely, yeah, it was more than likely the Yankees, but Let me throw this out there quickly. Then we'll get to the other guy who I kind of feel the same way about. Trevor Story, I love him. I love Trevor Story. Nothing about Story I think scares anybody as we see some of his highlights on the screen of what a damn good ball player this guy is. I am not giving up much more than a bag of donuts to get Trevor Story if he's refusing to re-sign with a club and give a window now to make a deal. Here's why. Well, hell, I think that is the why, isn't it? I mean, I don't think you got to go much further than that. Per maybe Buster or Heyman, one of them said it today. Might have been Feinsand again on a later tweet. But they said that there wouldn't be interest in him signing long-term now. So if that's the case, if he's waiting for free agency and we don't have a chance to give up prospects and sign this player now, bro, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm sorry because for the Yankees to do something like that, here's where their mindset has to be. Their mindset basically has to be, we are a Trevor Story away from being a legitimate World Series contender. And I don't believe that. I don't believe it.
And you shouldn't believe it because we are a lot more than a Trevor Story away. And when I say a lot more, I don't mean like that Trevor, it's not to diminish what Story is. Story is a great ball player, like you said. Premium defense at the shortstop position. Offensively, we know what he brings to the table. He fits the Yankees profile really well. There's strikeouts there. There's pop there. There's contact there. I think right now you put him in this lineup and he's definitely like at the top in terms of like talent hitting, but that's because a lot of people are having down years. And I think that when everybody's going, like, yeah, he fits in well, but it's going to take a lot more than that. I like it because I like any move that moves Gleyber Torres out of the shortstop position. I think that Gleyber Torres is definitely going to flourish when he's moved away from that position, whether it be on our team or another franchise. But we can't kid ourselves either. Like, if you're going to trade a piece to get him now because you have to have him right now, knowing that he's going to test free agency, it better be because he's the last piece on a World Series team. And quite frankly, I think we realize that the Yankees are not a World Series team. We don't even know if they're a wild card team. They're still 4.5 games out of the wild card. Like, right. So we can't sit here and say, oh, well, we're going to, we don't know. So I don't make that move, especially somebody who's already declaring like, no, I'm definitely testing free agency.
Right.
As he should, because, he's played his whole life and worked his whole life for this. So do your thing, Trevor. And if it's meant to be, we'll catch you in the winter and we'll sign you without giving up any prospect capital.
So you keep the donuts. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'll keep
At the end of the day.
I would prefer not to keep the donuts, actually. I would like to trade the donuts for something else.
Right. There you go. Exactly. So at the end of the day, I mean, if it comes down to story and that's it, you take your cannoli with you. Yeah. The cannoli's left. Hey, Vito, grab the cannoli. We out. You know what I mean? We out of here. We don't got to worry about it. So another thing I heard today is I said about Adam Frazier already, but another thing I heard today is that there's rumors that a lot of people around the Yankees believe that it could be a one-and-done type thing for the Yankees and that Hal is still not open truly to going way above. So even if they traded for Story, he is owed about $7 million, meaning that they're probably going to have to entice the Rangers, the Rockies a bit in saying, hey, we're willing to add more if you pay about $4 million of that salary that's remaining this year. And again, see, look, that's not the bargaining chip that I want. That's not something that if I'm Cashman, I'm sitting there saying, after watching this game, after watching this team all year, I'm just looking at that and saying, man, if I make this move, this is like gaslighting. It's like telling our fan base, guys, we good, don't worry about it. Like, this is good. This is what changes us. And unfortunately for this fan base, it probably would work. It probably would work for a couple of games. It'll probably work. But
unfortunately,
it's not. It's, to me, big Story fan. I'm with you, Francis. At the end of the day, you want Trevor Story, and you really want him. Off season, sign him, and leave it at that. But
I think
I'm not giving up the cannoli for him.
Yeah, if that's your guy, just don't play games with him come this winter.
That's right. Go
Simple
at him. Forget all that waiting. Forget all the we'll see this, we'll see that. No. Go grab your guy. You really want him?
Yeah.
Go up to him and tell him you're that guy.
Yeah.
You're that guy.
You are that guy, pal.
You are that guy. And that's it.
Don't sign on the dotted line. I don't want to hear my whole thing is like, look, I don't want to hear Cashman out there talking about, oh, we're waiting for the market to like, the market still hasn't said itself. Nonsense. Like, shut up. If you want the guy, you go and pay the guy what you think is fair. If he says, and now if the players are saying, no, I'm waiting to see what so and so gets, and that's different. But if it's a thing where we're like the team and the players again are playing chicken, like, spare me that bullshit this offseason, please, man. Like, no.
Yeah.
Just no. If he's gonna be a move that we're gonna make, then just go and make the freaking move, and that's it. Like, and if we're not gonna, and if he wants to test free agency, or we're not gonna grab him right now, and we're gonna wait to try to sign him later on, then it's like, okay, then why the hell don't we just go and grab Gallo?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Gallo at least has another year. I mean, you got it locked in. Use the prospects for that. Grab Gallo, sign Trevor in the offseason, and now already you've revamped the lineup. Like, big time.
You got a left-handed power hitting outfielder who plays a decent outfield. You have a premium glove shortstop who actually hits along with playing the shortstop position. Gleyber Torres has now moved back to second. He can focus on second base and hitting again. Yep. You probably move Voit for something else, preferably pitching. I'd say some like relief pitching.
Yeah, definitely. Something
clear that we need that.
Something.
And then you got LeMahieu at first base. He doesn't have to move around every single freaking day. You're just like, no, man, you're the first baseman now. So bring your first base glove to spring training, and the other gloves will be the backup now, and he can really settle into that position as he eventually begins to decline, not now because he's not declining right now, but he will somewhere near, the last couple of years of the deal. And I think we're set in terms of like revamping the lineup. Now, are those the only moves I would like to see offensively? No. I still think even if you got those two guys, Gallo and Trevor Story, I still like another left-handed bat, preferably a contact guy, if you could find him.
Yeah, definitely.
But,
and then just some numbers on Trevor Story. So for the year, 242, 11 home runs, 43 RBI, 17 stolen bases. Splits are a little concerning. I'll get to those 1 second, but splits are splits, and I think a lot of guys do better in a home park. I don't know how much Colorado has to do with it. But over his last 15 games, he's only hitting 164, 20 strikeouts and 55 at-bats. So his last 15 and even last 7 games go a little further back than that. He's been struggling quite a bit. But again, I always like the change of scenery boost. But overall this year, home games, hitting 191 at home, 6 of his 11 homers at home, and also on the road, he's hitting 180. So, again, I'm not a big fan of splits because everybody told me the same thing when the Yankees got DJ LeMahieu, that, his splits show that he's a Colorado guy, and, yeah, that obviously wasn't the case. So, I'm not concerned about that.
Arenado doesn't look bad in St. Louis.
Right, exactly. So hitters are hitters, right?
DJ doesn't look bad over here. I'm not
right.
not worried about that.
If Todd Helton went anywhere else, he would have hit too. So, these good hitters in that team, they're going to hit no matter where they go. Tulowitzki would have hit anywhere if he continued to stay healthy. We know that. That's not some.
Tulo just couldn't stay healthy.
He couldn't stay healthy.
Yeah,
Tulo could hit anywhere. And Story's very, very similar, man. I'll see him doing the same thing, but, man, I just can't buy into that. It's be like, oh my God, the Yankees won the deadline. They got Story. I would be like this, if it was another year, I'd be like, that's what's up. You know what I mean? This is like
finally,
like when the Yanks got Abreu. Remember? We added Abreu for like nothing. I was like, that's what's up. This is us gunning it, right? This is us putting the pedal to the metal and saying, now we going for this thing.
Yeah.
But with this one, I'm just like, the way the season has been, I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna fool myself. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna play stupid here. I'm not gonna hop up and then look. They get Story, we gonna support him, right? We're gonna be back there saying, cool, what's up? Let's see. Let's see what he changes. Let's see if he changed. Maybe he changed the clubhouse a little bit. Maybe he spruces things up a little bit. I don't know. But that's too much for one man. For this team,
I don't see it. Honestly, I don't see it.
Too much for one man.
Yeah, I don't see it. And it's not a knock against Story. It's just that, like I said, this team's problems are so much greater than one guy. It's like Story's not gonna make a freaking difference. I like somebody told me the other day, like, I was like, oh, you're absolutely crazy, whatever. But I was like, I think you could add Trout to this lineup right now, and it wouldn't make much of a difference. And
they got other issues.
Trout is the best, right? He's the best. But him alone, that's the thing about baseball, is that as much as it is like a team sport or whatever, there are so many solitary moments in the game where an individual has to perform. And the Yankees have too many individuals not doing that. It doesn't matter how good Trout is. He can't bat 9 times straight, right?
Yeah.
He can't field 9 positions.
He can't pitch.
He can't pitch in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. We have way bigger problem than just one hitter is going to solve. So, it's not a knock against him. I just think that the things that need to happen are a lot greater than just trading for one player. And it's like I was telling you before we hit play on this episode, bro. Like, you trade for Story and then what? You're a 4th place team right now. You're still 4.5 out of the wild card. Yep. Could you make a run and get the second wild card spot? Yes, most likely. If you go to the wild card game and you're playing whoever it is, could you win that game? Of course you can. You have Garrett Cole. You got a good a chance as anybody. As a matter of fact, if you're in the wild card game against another team in the American League, I think the odds are going to be on you because you have Garrett Cole starting, and other people can't say that.
Of course.
So yeah, you go in the wild card game. You might get a hit or two enough to freaking get through that and win that game. That's cool. You win the wild card. Cute. You go to the ALDS against Boston and probably lose. Do you guys want that? I'm asking you fans listening to this episode. Do you want to win the wild card only to go to the ALDS?
No.
And lose to Boston again?
No. They know that. They know they don't want that because then they have the hope of miracle. Oh, maybe with No. Here, folks, look. Here's the deal.
But then they would tell us, I mean, we were a playoff team, we went to the ALDS.
Exactly.
The ball just didn't roll our way.
Exactly. We just need to add, one or two pieces. No. No, enough. It's not about that no more. It's not about that. No, we've been there. This the same rodeo. We've been here and done that. Enough of the madness. I'm sick of the same conversations, right? We're sick of these same conversations. This is what it's been.
No, it's the same. It's the same song every year. Same old song. Oh,
I just got a text message from one of the guys who give me information. He said flat out, if I'm them, I'm retooling. I mean,
100%.
Okay, and this guy's actually in the know, but he's saying personally, if I'm them, the deadline, there's no anymore of going out to let's add. You retool a smart way. Yeah, and that's the same thing we asked Chef on the interview, and Sheffield said the same thing as we did. The guy that makes the most sense is Adam Frazier. And I saw, who was it again? I forgot who said it. It was one of the regulars on Twitter, I think. They said, yeah, but we need lefties with power, not with what Frazier does. You mean what Frazier? A 300 plus hitter puts the ball in play. We don't need that.
I remember what you're talking about. He said we don't need another DJ LeMahieu. I was like, we don't need another DJ LeMahieu.
I don't know.
He won the batting title last year. He won the batting title last year, and in his first year, he was like freaking had an MVP season for us. It was just we don't need another one of those. What do you watch baseball?
It must be nice to be Cashman though. To be honest, it's a sweet job right now. I mean, go out there and keep hoping, keep being hopeful.
Go spend $200 million a year.
Unbelievable.
Spend $200 million a year on a product that is underwhelming to say the least. I mean, because this is a family show, I'm gonna try to keep it at that. But yeah, go spend your $200 million. Your job is secure. We don't care what you do. We don't care what happens. We don't care about the results. As long as people are buying the $30 chicken buckets and buying $10 beers, that's all we care about.
Chicken bucket my ass. I'll say it, all right? Forget the family program. I'll say it, all right? Chicken bucket my ass. Shove
that's exactly where I'm at.
Shove that shit.
That is
chicken
exactly
bucket.
Where
chicken
I'm at
fuck it. That's what it should be called. The chicken, the brand new New York Yankee chicken fuck it. That's what it should be called.
That's what it. I mean, listen, guys.
I'm sorry, Pops, if you're watching. Excuse my
But this is my thing. And it's been my thing. It's like, and Gary says it he just said it in the interview. You guys heard it. Like, Hal knows what his father knew all along. The difference is he's exploiting that loophole. George would never do that because of the man that he was.
Yep.
Hal is cool with it because it's like, either way I get paid. Like,
he don't care.
It's like,
I told you I had that call. I got that information. I put that video out. He's not a baseball guy. He's not a baseball. He don't care. The difference between him, they both have money, right? Dad had money. Son got money. They both own the New York Yankees. He's the rightful owner of the club because of his father bought the team. He's the rightful owner. The difference is one of them does what we do every day.
Yeah.
No matter what we're going through, we're in front of this TV watching the game.
Watching Yankees.
We're supporting the Yankees. We're arguing with people when they say, oh, the Yankees are losing. No, well, your team still sucks. Shut up. You know what I mean? Like, you shut up. Nah, whatever. Like, we're going to support this team. We're the soldiers for the Yankees. We're on the front lines for the Yankees every single day. But this dude was like George Washington. He's sailing over Delaware like this with the flag in his hand. Like, what's good? Let's go. We're going to the battle, right? That was George. Hal is the dude running home saying, Mommy, they're shooting at us. That's the difference. Run for cover. Run for cover. Duck. Chicken buckets. Man. That's the difference is that his dad was saying, man, forget a luxury tax. How much money are we taking in this year?
Luxury schmuggery.
It's like you said the other day. What we're taking in all this, or I think Chef said it. All the money they're making on Aaron Judge by himself. We got everything. We got it. We're making money. Forget the luxury tax. Oh, Brian Cashman. Hey, this so and so's available. He got Scherzer's available. He wants a 2-year extension. How do we do? Complete the deal.
Yeah.
But we're gonna complete the deal. Forget the luck. Complete the deal. We'll go to 250, 260. I don't care. So.
Yeah, I mean.
That is the major difference, unfortunately, is that you got a dude who doesn't care about the club. Like I said in the video, Cashman's been in his life, his whole life, basically. Most of his adult life had been involved with Brian Cashman.
They came up together. He said it.
They came up together. Brian Cashman knows He knows Brian Cashman knows the club. That's why he said to him, become the president, blah, blah, blah. Take control. You do the hiring process on the club. And that's it. Where's my man Bam Bam's at? Bam Bam Wellens, where you at? Can we get him back? We interviewed him already. Get him back. I don't care where he's at. Figure out. Get somebody. Get a broomstick in there.
I at this point, like I feel even like closer to like a broken record than I don't know.
This year I said it.
If I've ever been like that at any point in my life, but I feel I can't. I'm so tired of saying the same things and nobody like, and the team just doesn't like respond or do anything. It's like, dude, like Boone is not the guy. Cashman's project of him like running a team from his, office upstairs, that's failed. It fell flat on his face.
His philosophy's done, man.
It's like, what are we doing? Like, and that's why I've been saying retool. I'm not saying blow this up like some clowns on Twitter are going to.
And that's why I always say this too, though. And it's the same thing. The conversation always leads to this, doesn't it? Is Cashman the guy to even do that? I don't think he is.
Here's what I'll say. I mean, no, I don't think he's the guy to do that. But if they don't make any additions at the deadline and this team finishes the year terrible, but under the luxury tax, can they justify not spending money this offseason? Probably
can't.
not.
No,
they're gonna have to spend. So even Brian Cashman can't fuck that up. Like,
right.
Because it's like, oh, you got under the threshold, you're not paying the tax, and you reset the tax, so now you can go and spend a little bit. And anybody can you're the Yankees and you got money to spend. Who can screw that up?
Right.
Like, not even Cashman can screw that up. And I guess that's what bothers me a little bit about it, because it's like, yeah, he could go out and like have a decent offseason and people will say, oh, but look, he did this, he did that. Yeah, I mean, of course he did. Like, it would be really hard to mess up the offseason with the amount of talent that's available and the fact that you stayed under the luxury tax the year prior and reset it so you're good to spend. But let's not forget what would have gotten us to that position, which is this season and the seasons leading up to this season. And so, yeah, I mean, I hope, for the best. I mean, honestly, like I can't root for my team to lose because I don't like seeing my team lose. So It's like, yeah, if they figure it out and they win the wild card spot, like, am I gonna boycott the wild? No, I'm gonna watch the freaking game and I'm gonna root for my team until. And it's every year. It's the same thing. Like, I'm rooting for my team until the last out of their last game.
Yeah, definitely.
And I take a very short break in between letting my brain go back to that team. Like, the Yankees lose a series and like, yeah, I maybe let the rest of the playoffs go by and I watch the other teams and I see it to completion and I don't think about my team. Once the last out of the World Series is made, I'm thinking about the Yankees again, baby.
Yeah, thinking about next year, the offseason and all that.
I'm like, what are we doing? How are we going to get here? How are we going to be this team holding up the trophy, the last team standing on the field when it's all said and done? Like, should we get this guy? Is this guy going to be available? I wonder what we're going to do about this. Are we going to move this contract, trade that piece, bring this prospect up? Like, I'm already thinking because, like, I'm a fan.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat anything to you guys. Right now, this team is a fourth-place team. They're 4.5 out of the wild card even. And we don't know that they'll even make that.
Yeah, we don't know none of that yet. And then the other name that was brought up today, this is from Brandon Cuddy. Sources, Yankees were talking last night to the Marlins about Starling Marte. They also have talked to the Twins about Max Kepler, but the asking price has been up, so obviously very high there. So Starling Marte is somewhat of an interesting one. And here's the thing again about Starling Marte is he falls in line to the same category, right? He's a free agent. So you're only getting him for 2 months. And again, now you got to ask yourself the same exact question as we see a lot of Marte's highlights here. Good center field, we know that. But you got to ask yourself the same question. Is he a guy that changes his entire club? And again, no, because no one man is that. So again, on Starling Marte, I'm keeping a cannoli, bro. I'm keeping it. I'm keeping a cannoli.
No disrespect to Starling Marte. I think he's a wonderful talent. I think he's gonna get paid a few bucks this offseason. I mean, not anything too crazy because he's he's no spring chicken. But does it make sense to trade for him now if you're the New York Yankees? I don't think so.
I don't know. It doesn't.
He's not even. First of all, it's like I could see like if they went out and made a trade for a couple months, to get a lefty bat in the lineup and see what it does for the dynamic. But he's not even that.
And Jeter's going to rob him. I'm telling you. I told everybody that already. Prepare for it because, look, one thing people forget, a big player the Yankees lost to Derek Jeter. Well, not a player. A big person they lost was Gary Dembo.
Yeah.
Gary Dembo knows this system.
He knows our system better than probably anybody else.
Trust me,
I think he knows it better than Cashman for sure.
That wouldn't surprise me one bit. Gary Dembo knows who to go after in the Yankees organization, and it would not shock me if one of these two men end up being the guy that the Yankees get, because I go back to Story real quickly. I was told that I don't even remember. It was one of our first roundtables we did. And I remember saying that I had that news about Story, but I didn't want to put it out there yet, like tweet it out, because I was waiting for 2 more people to contact me. When the 2 others contact me, they said they don't think so. They'll have interest, but they don't think it happens because of money. So I was like, all right, I'll leave it alone then. But now you got more and more coming out like they're actually really having talks with Colorado. So then you hear we're really having talks with the Marlins. And I'm just thinking, well, where the hell is Brian Cashman's head at? Like, honestly, man, where is your head at here? You must really believe in your mind that one or two things, that this club really is 100% World Series contender. If we get them to the postseason, they can do big things. That's one. And I think you're tricking yourself there, if you ask me. Or 2, you're just putting on for the fan base and you're just gaslighting. It's the same type of thing because these players do not make sense. You at least need a guy that's control for next year. Minimum control for next year.
I give up. I gave up a long time ago trying to figure out like where Cashman's head is at any point, like whether it be the off season or like at the trade deadline.
Usually it's up his ass, but
especially the trade deadlines, bro, because like look at it's been criminal trade deadlines in the past few years where we
were talking about rants. Talking about rants. Anybody remember the Alfredo Garcia rant? I couldn't help it.
Yeah, it was like, bro, and that was what I remember that game because like that was who were we facing? That was the day that I think we were facing the Diamondbacks, and like Greinke had just gotten traded to the Houston Astros.
Yep.
And like we were like, oh, like they were looking like maybe at like Robbie Ray or Archie Bradley and nothing. They didn't do anything.
Nothing at all. They end up like late after, I think after the deadline passed, they came out with we got Alfredo Garcia. It was like an official Yankee like response. Like, what the Alfredo Garcia? Are you guys mad? Like,
how do you even like? To me, it's like
that's a slap in the face. That's the first thing that came to my mind. I'm like, you guys literally just slapped us all in the face. That was like a joke. That was like, man, shut up. Be quiet.
I'm not even gonna announce that deal on deadline. If that's all that I do, like he's getting announced like 2 or 3 days later. Like we'll trade for him and like get him here. Let him do his physical, and then like, oh, did you announce? Like, no, we're waiting for your physical to clear. I will wait like 4 days before saying, oh, the Yankees have acquired Alfredo Garcia from whatever for a stick of gum, and
I think they got him from the Rockies. I think it was the Rockies. I think. I don't know, who the hell knows. I gotta find like an Alfredo Garcia.
Like, who knows? And Alfredo Garcia?
It's like that's in the recipe book upstairs. The Alfredo Garcia.
Come on, man! Like
it's a Mexican pasta. What would you like, sir? I'll take the Alfredo Garcia today.
Yeah. Is it like how do you want your taco? Al dente. Bro, I
want a little punch on it. That's a little hot.
Yeah. Come on, I can't. Like So like I said, I'm done trying to figure out where Cashman's head is at. If he makes a deal, honestly, if I'm not gonna lie to you guys, if he did make a deal this offseason, I would almost be upset. Like this trade deadline, I would almost be upset that like this is the year where you go and make a deal, but like you didn't in 2019.
That's a good point too. Yeah,
and you didn't in 2018. Like. That would be like really like we're in 4th place. We're barely treading water in the wild card race. Oh, and this year you go and make a deal for like a guy, but you wouldn't do like, yo, you don't know ass from your elbow in this job. Like,
and again, look, man, one of the things that me and Pops, we had a little talk this morning. That one of the things he brought up, I said, man, you told me this a while back. I remember back in Joe Torre's days where the last couple of years, everybody's like, all right, he's done. It's time to move on. And I remember my pop said back then, unfortunately, at some point, people wear out their welcome. And he wore it as welcome. I just feel the same way with Brian Cashman. There's been a lot of change in Major League Baseball over this gap, hasn't there? Since 98, all the way to now, there's been a lot of change in this game. And look, I'm not going to fault necessarily Brian Cashman on maybe not being as up to speed or doing things the way the new guys do it totally, or being in the mindset enough to really make a salad out of all that and throw all this stuff in there and say, all right, this tastes good still. It works. It's fine. It's good. Maybe he's not the guy to do that. And people see it right away as, oh, it's an attack on Cash. I guess it kind of is. But at some point, I don't blame him he's not going to walk away from his role. Hal Steinbrenner got to be the guy to say, yeah, I think it's time, we move on to somebody else. Because obviously whatever you've been looking to do has not worked. So when we talk about the cannoli, I'm talking about the prospects, right?
Yeah.
And there's a couple of prospects out there that I've been hearing a lot on. Anthony Volpe, Jose Peraza, they're being asked about. The Yankees are very reluctant to deal them. Now, I am not upset about that. I'm okay with that, depending on who it is. So we talked about that too. I'm not giving up the cannoli again for guys that are only this year. Cannolis only happen for guys that have a little bit of control. I'm not giving that up for a 2-month guy or somebody we can sign in the offseason. So for me, when I look at the future of this ball club, and I go, okay, Trevor Story sounds cute. All these shortstops sound cute. I look at the guys, again, the cannolis that they're unwilling to give away or they don't want to give away. Well, then, if you're that confident in some of these guys, honestly, I'd rather just see them here. And I know fans are going to jump up and down and say, well, Pete, they're not ready. They're not ready. Guys, look, let me throw something at you real quick, okay? This is Oswald Peraza, and I'm not bullshitting you guys when I tell you. If you want to go read about him, you might not find all this stuff, but I talked to a couple of evaluators, okay? These guys know their shit. Everything you hear about Oswald Peraza, one of the main things you hear about, forget the bat, forget everything else. They say his baseball IQ is off the charts. His speed, when they talk about his defense, they say smooth. He is smooth at shortstop. His defense is terrific. He's very fast, faster than you think. He's fast. He got wheels. Overall this year, 2021, I know it's high A to now double A in Somerset. 294. 25 stolen bases, 10 home runs, 32 RBIs, 78 hits. His on-base percentage is 363, 294 again, and then his slugging overall this year, 2021 total is 498, okay? So now, just to make everyone aware, well, look at his gap here, okay? From A ball, high A, to double A. In high A, he had 111 at-bats. In double A, he got 154, so he's getting the majority now of his time in double A. In A-ball, 306 average, 386 on base percentage, 532 slugging. Somerset, 286 average, 345 on base, 474 slugging. Again, numbers a little bit down, obviously, but nothing that opens your eyes and go, man, he's a different player. Got off to a terrible start, too, with Somerset, where you're looking like, oh, man, maybe this league is catching up to him. No, he adjusted extremely well. 10 doubles, 20 doubles overall this year, okay? 5 home runs, both have the same numbers in double A and single A. So my point here that I'm trying to make is, if this guy is as good as people believe, and he's already doing this now in double A, I would be okay with the Yankees saying, maybe we give this guy a shot. Maybe that's the route we go. Maybe we pass up on all this, these large contracts again, and we make some smart trades. We add some pitching. We hold on to the Davy Garcias, and we trade them now. We trade Garcia. We trade the bigger names. Maybe we decide, is it Volpe or is it Peraza? We think it's Peraza who's closer. That's the guy we go with. Volpe is going to be wanted big time. Homered again tonight. So again, this dude has just went into another level, high A, and it's not slowing him down. These guys, is what I'm trying to say, are legitimate prospects. So you know what I mean by prospects. They're the cannoli. You could still sell it. But what I want from my team is not necessarily rush these guys, but if a guy's above AA really performing and they still got time there, I'm not saying you bring them up this year. That's not the case. Put them into your plan then. Don't sit there and keep leaving them. Or we don't want to deal this guy because we wanted to hold on to him because that's who this team was asking for. At the end of the day, do what they're meant to do. If you end up passing up on a shortstop, or you maybe get a better guy than maybe Tyler Wade. So if this guy did come up and you risk that he's a starter in 2022 at shortstop, like we did with Jeter, if we feel there's a possibility you could do that with a guy like this, maybe you have somebody else that if he struggles, you go, hey, Oswald ain't working. Let's send you back down for a little bit. Get back up here quick. We need you. And you put a defensive guy in there, somebody that could play a little bit, but you still add your outfielder or you still add your pitching. You make a good trade for an outfielder, controllable guy. I want to see that done with our prospects. I want action done from these guys. I want there to be a possibility that we see them up here a little faster, not necessarily rushed, but if you have this mindset that they're well advanced, give them that shot. Or don't just leave them in here. Either give them that shot or choose that maybe they're a guy we end up dealing.
I agree with you. I think at this point, like the Yankees have reached a point where you're looking at guys like your Volpes and your Perazzas and like your Austin Wells and things like this talent has been cultivated.
Number 4 on Fangraphs now.
Well enough, and exactly that was the point I was going to. Like a couple weeks ago, we saw that I forgot who was it that had it was Fangraphs still had us at 7. Right now, an update has us at 4th, the 4th best farm system in baseball right now.
Yep.
Right. You can listen to Jeff Passan all you want. You can listen to all John Heyman and all these people who are saying the Yankees don't have anything. They don't have whatever. That's fine. But like this is actually where like the numbers and the analytics and things like I'm actually like gonna go wholeheartedly with that because Passan's not watching minor league Yankees guys. I'm sorry.
No.
Neither is Heyman.
No.
Neither is like any of the like. I'm sorry. So I'm going with them. And if they're saying we got the 4th best, it's got to be for something. And I think we all know, like when you look at these names, like a lot of casual fans know the names in the farm system.
Yeah.
And yes, that has a lot to do with the fact that the Yankees do a good job with the media pushing these guys.
They do
and
a very
creating
good job.
hype around these guys, even when there shouldn't be. But Volpe's been good. The numbers are there. Peraza's been good. The numbers are there. Both of these kids are shortstops. You have a shortstop right now in Gleyber Torres. You're looking to trade for a shortstop in Trevor Story. Like, what are we doing?
Yep.
Think about it. There's a million shortstops going to be free agents this winter. Gleyber Torres is currently manning the position. I think Cashman said at the beginning of the year that Gleyber isn't a shortstop, and he does. So if you knew that at the beginning of the year, why the hell are we still seeing that now? Neither here nor there. But fine, let's change that. Let's move him. Let's make the resolution of moving him off a shortstop from now moving on. Okay, done. Who's taking that position? Are we signing one of these shortstops that are free agents now? Because if we are, then at least one of Peraza or Volpe needs to be in the deal going somewhere to get us something back that we can use now.
Right.
Why? What's the rush? People might say, what's the rush? Why are you so decisive right now? Well, right now we have Giancarlo Stanton who can still kind of do something offensively, but in a couple years that might not be there.
Yep.
Aaron Judge, right now in the prime of his career, in a couple years might not be hitting the same. DJ LeMahieu, not declining, still hitting well enough. He might not be having one of the first two, like a season like the first 2 years that he got here, but still productive. A couple years from now, might not be the case.
Well, even like in 2020 and 2019, I mean, look at DJ's protection too. He could be taking a lot of that on himself. There's a lot that could go into somebody's mind when the team is struggling so badly offensively. Everybody is. You could really argue the only guy that's progressed is maybe Urshela and Judge, right? I mean, those are the only two you could sit there and be like, they've actually continued the progression of getting better. Yeah. But I mean, other than that, there's nobody. I mean, can we just sit here and say has Luke Voit regressed? Probably not. He's been injured a lot. Yeah. So he could still be that same type of guy. But my thing is when people talk about LeMahieu, I'm just like, we don't know how much pressure LeMahieu, and I'm not making excuses for him. We don't know how much pressure he's putting on himself. And also, too, still over his last 30, he's hitting like 285. So it's not like he's all of a sudden became a 220 hitter. He's not doing that.
He's not having a bad season. He's
for his standards.
He's just having a bad season for his standards.
Correct. Exactly.
Don't know how to like assess that.
Exactly.
But my point is that the core that we have right now, your Judge, your Urshela,
done. All that's done.
Your like DJ, your Garrett Cole, like those guys, like if you're going to win with them, it needs to be like soon. You're already like very late. Like you already wasted 2018, 2019, 2020, and 2021. The fact is that you may or may not still have a chance to win with them in 2022 and 2023. I'm on the side that they will still have a chance, but it all depends on what you put around them at this point. And that's why I say we need to be decisive. Like there can't just be this up in the air. Like Cashman, it just doesn't make sense. Like you're up in the air on whether or not Gleyber Torres is your shortstop. You're up in the air on whether or not you can move one of Volpe or Peraza, even though they both play the same position. You're up in the air on whether or not you're going to trade for Trevor Story or sign a Trevor Story in the offseason or sign a different shortstop in the offseason. Personally, at this point, I would say, hey, these guys are nice. Story's good or whatever. But if Seager is available, why not just go grab him? Why not just go sign him? Go grab him. Let Story go somewhere else. Move Torres back or whatever. And trade one, like I said, either trade one of Peraza or Volpe and make it count.
Yeah, right.
And make it count. That's where I'm at with it.
Making
it
count
that I want to
key.
see any of those guys go.
Making it count is key.
Yeah, it's just that what are we doing? What are we doing with them at this point, at this juncture? Like what are they doing for us?
And are
they contributing to this championship window?
Correct.
Or are we waiting for their championship window to come?
Yep. And if that's the case, then hey, well then start selling the pieces off that can make that team even better. I mean, if that's going to be your end game, right? If that's your end game right there, is that we still feel this guy's a year away, 2 years away. Well, then sell off those pieces and let's build that club where they need to be. So one of the other names I brought up, because I do think they need a pen arm, is Richard Rodriguez. Richard Rodriguez, again, is not a free agent until 2024. So that is the type of talent I feel the Yankees need to go after if going after anybody. Remember, his contract is stupid, too. You're not giving this dude $10+ million. You got it for multiple years. This then opens the door and the gateway to get creative, to deal your Britain, to see if there's a taker on the Aroldis Chapman. Because, look, hey, if somebody comes to me and goes, look, I like that number, 12 or 11 prospect you guys got, Kevin Alcantara. Everybody's kind of high on him. Man, hey, we'll take $16 million of that deal if you throw him in there. Okay.
Take him.
Okay. Guess what? Alcantara is nowhere near Jason Dominguez. And Jason Dominguez is already an outfielder. Alcantara is an outfielder. I'm picking and choosing here now.
We can also trade for an outfielder and sign an outfielder.
Do that. And he's also been there for a very long time. He's very young. So
let's
a Yankee team cannot run that way.
If that's what it took to get a Chapman off the payroll, then that's what you do.
Facts.
All of you people out there that say, "Oh, but okay, we can't move it." Shut up. You are part of the problem if that's what you think.
The Red Sox did it.
The whole thing that Cashman has cultivated with the prospect hugging is another thing that just makes me absolutely sick.
Right.
Like
look
I literally had to
read
an article like a week ago or whatever on NJ.com where this guy was literally saying a scout and then a front office guy who remained anonymous said, like, yeah, everybody around the league knows that the Yankees aren't going to part ways with any of their top guys.
That's what I was told today.
Like that's the consensus.
That's what I was told today.
The entire league knows that it doesn't bode well. It doesn't make any sense for you to have a conversation with the Yankees because Cashman's not going to part ways with any of those guys.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, if that's the freaking notion about this, then what are we doing? Like of course nobody's going to call and check in on the possibility of trading this guy to you or whatever. But if they think that you're not going to if you're not even going to consider giving them back the guy that they're interested in. And it's like, again, what is the point? What is the point? Like you have these prospects, you cultivate them, you get the hype around them, but they're just that, prospects.
Yep.
It's smoke. They're a chance. They should all be named Chance, like Chance Adams, because that's all it is.
That's all
it's a
chance.
chance.
Right.
There's a chance.
That's
that
right.
they come up and do the things that people are saying they'll do, but it's not guaranteed. So if you can sell high on one of these guys and get, a bad contract off of your payroll, or bring somebody back that's proven that can help your team now, if you're the Yankees, that's what you do.
Yep.
I don't think we're ever going to be that team that grows a championship team from the farm. I don't think that's our MO. I don't think that's our MO. I don't think that's who we are. I don't think that's ever going to be who we are. Some people are just big fish. Some people are little fish, and everybody got to find a way to swim, to live in the ecosystem in the water. And I think the Yankees' way of surviving is to be the white whale, the shark, and we're not going to cultivate a championship team from the ground up. We're not.
100%. I mean, I'm right there with you. And again, it almost sounds like I know Austin said it one day. When we were going to do a roundtable, he goes, man, I almost feel like it's therapy sessions at this point, because we're just repeating it's almost like we're repeating the same thing, because we just are. Because at the end of the day, unfortunately, which kind of sucks for us, is that our fan base, a lot of us, I'm not going to say all of us, our fan base actually watches all these games. It can actually pinpoint pretty easily where the issues are. But it's upsetting when you hear the same old thing. I'm kind of happy to hear that. One thing I'm kind of happy, they're recognizing that probably got to get Glaber off of short, right? There seemed like there's a little realization there that DJ LeMahieu's probably better served at first base for us. That's likely going to happen one way or the other, whether that's Story now or somebody later. Mm-hmm. But there's so many. I don't want to hear people say, "Oh, you can't move these salaries." Yes, you can. The Red Sox moved Carl Crawford. They moved David Price. They moved a bunch of guys to get all this salary off their books. Look, and we're not also acting like Aroldis Chapman. If he struggled the rest of the year, somebody's going to take a chance on him still. He's just that type of talent. No, not everybody's going to be like, oh, yeah, he's done. Forget him. Let the Yankees be stuck with that. We won't take a risk. People are going to take a risk on Zach Britton. Those are guys teams would be very, very willing to trade for. Very willing. Green's another guy. There's another guy you could get a lot of guys. You could get a lot for.
You're gonna have to do what it takes. That's all. Like, if you're gonna trade, Chapman will be the most difficult one out of the bunch, because he's scheduled to make $18 million next year.
Oh,
but like
God,
I said,
I get sick hearing it.
If it takes attaching a prospect, then then that's what you do.
You just do it.
All right. We're not. I'm sorry, but we don't need to be paying. We don't need to be paying two relievers $32 million when next year rolls around. We've been saying that a lot lately, but it is what it is. Like, especially not when we got talent like Loaisiga and other guys, and then we can trade for talent that's like literally making money that's microscopic in comparison, but delivering and producing exponentially more. Like, it just goes to show you, we shouldn't be dealing with relievers that are that expensive.
Yep.
You move them. If you can move them, you move them. You figure it out and you move them. I mean,
and that's the same thing I'm saying with the Cannoli. Is if these guys, if you're not holding on to them, or you don't keep these guys around, or you don't have an actual there's a better way you don't have an actual plan for them. If you don't look at one of these guys and go, okay, I can see this guy being in this position. We could put this guy here. This guy could be something for us in the future. This is kind of where we are. You do that. You know what I mean? You hold on to that guy for that reason, because you actually got a plan for him. And maybe with this, again, the window when it comes to the Yankees, quote unquote, window of their last group that came up, they're all free agents after next year. That window's done.
You got to start re-signing guys.
Yeah, I mean that window is done. We can't lie about that. Or we can't try to hype it up in any way. That window is over. So if we're going to keep these guys around, we're not going to keep all of them. It's basically done.
I would say the last to me it'll be officially done after 2022. So in my mind, they have one more year to win with that core before having to pay guys, and that's next year.
Yep. So the Yankees right now are 50-46. They are 9 games back, and they are 5 back in the wild card. And again, the Toronto's right on their back. As we also said before we went live, I believe, Tampa Bay already went out there and made a move. They added Big Nelson Cruz, who Francis told me homer tonight. So he already did an oppo bomb for them.
Mm-hmm.
He's already out there producing. One name that we didn't talk about, at all, that Brandon Cuddy mentioned. Let me see where that tweet is. I think it was right here. Yes, that they've also talked to the Twins about Max Kepler. Bringing up Max Kepler, lefty, outfielder. Those type of moves make sense if you're dealing big players.
I like the Kepler thing a lot. I think it's underrated.
But again, that's exactly what we're talking about. If you're going to deal a prospect, a guy like a Max Kepler would make more sense. So if we pull him up here,
all the sense.
Let me pull him up here and tell you guys why I say that. The year is 2021 right now. Listen to this, everybody. If you could get him, this is a guy you look into dealing some legitimate prospects for. You would have total control over Max Kepler because he becomes a free agent in 2025. So you'll have him in his prime. You'll have his last season be 31 years old. Next year he's paid $6.7 million. 2023 $8.5 million. 2024 $10 million. That's it. The 2024 is an option, so he has the $10 million option or a $1 million buyout. But those are the type of deals that if the Yankees are going to trade a Peraza, if they're going to trade a Volpe, if they're going to trade a top target, he fits the mold. He fits them, doesn't he? I mean, he's undoubtedly a fit for this club. And that's the type of thing that we're talking about that they need to look at if a big deal like that's going to happen, is a guy like a Max Kepler. Now, again, the batting average isn't sexy. We know that. But he does a lot of other things good.
Yeah, and again, he's had a down year or two, but like there's potential there, and I think we'd be trading more so like for potential. Like if the Yankees were to move Gleyber Torres right now, it's the same thing. Like his numbers aren't sexy either, but the team who would be willing to trade for him is not trading for his numbers now. They're trading for what they think is still in there that can be unlocked. And I think it's the same with Kep. Like if you do make a move for a Max Kepler, you think that there's still a lot left in that tank and there's something that you can unlock. And with hitters,
and the salary doesn't scare you either. That's the other thing. The salary doesn't scare you.
But that coupled with the fact that with hitters, the Yankees have had like pretty decent luck, I'd say, yeah, all right. I mean, look, even Odor hasn't looked terrible this year with like there's been times where it's like, oh my God, he's in the lineup again, like whatever. And the fact that a guy like that is in this lineup is like terrible to me because it's like it should have never happened this season. Right. But like look at what they've done with Odor. Like you said it, like look at the change in the stance, the change in the approach, and like he hasn't been horrible. He hasn't. Like Gardner, I can't stand to see much anymore. Like
Gardner,
for me, I always get upset with Odor, not his fault. He just always catches the brunt of my rage when it's him and Gardner in the lineup again. Like I cannot stomach this, him and Gardner being in this lineup day after day after day. So it's like he just catches strays. But yeah, so who knows? Like they bring like Max Kepler over here and like maybe change something in his
and I'm not even saying that you go out there and you see a guy like Kepler, like, hey, here, take Volpe, take this one, take that one. What I'm saying is those are the type of guys, not even based off his stats, not even based off who he is, that you need to look at if you're going to deal a guy like that, in my opinion. You can't, like, God forbid they come out, hey, we traded Volpe and Medina for Trevor Story. I'm like,
oh,
the frig, why? Like, I understand you want him, but is he signing an extension? Is a deal done? Is a deal in place? So what was that? Like, you hold on to those guys for a big guy to come available. And that's the thing.
That's not prospect hugging. That's completely different.
Right. Yeah. And my thing with Brian Cashman is I'm like, has he even ever thought about like a prospect for prospect trade of guys that are closer that benefit your team more? He doesn't even I don't feel like that's interest to him. He's like, yeah, I can't bring this guy into, whatever. Like, I can't bring a Drew Waters. Like the Braves are saying, hey, Glaber's available. Hey, maybe we take a Drew Waters for him. Hypothetical. Yeah. I don't even know if that's something that even crosses this dude's mind that he says, Drew Waters is in AAA. He's one of the top prospects in the league. He's kind of there now. We can use this guy at this moment. I don't even know if he thinks of stuff like that or if that ever goes through his brain. Some of these good starting pitchers out there that are in AAA, maybe AA, doing really well, and you feel there's an opportunity to get them up there. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know if anything like that even runs through this guy's mind. So,
honestly, that's a very interesting idea, and I have to say, like, I haven't thought about that like this year, but maybe that's part of the problem. Like, maybe those are things that we should be thinking about. Like,
well, other teams do it.
Trading a prospect that we have that's close for another prospect that someone else has that's also close but fits our timeline better and our current team better. Like, but this is the kind of thought, like, process, and like that this is what we need. Like, this is the kind of thinking that we need to be in the brain trust.
No doubt about it.
It's not there right now.
Obviously, it's not.
We can't kid ourselves and say, "Oh no, we can't." Like, it's not. We know it's not there. Like,
no.
We know that Cashman is in a room with a bunch of people who are, quote unquote, analytics people, but who are really just yes men, stroking the cash god's ego, telling him that every move that he made is like, it's amazing, and these players are just not performing. But like, you're the greatest, man. I promise you. Like, you constructed the best roster of all time. The players just decided not to produce. It's like, nah, man. You constructed a bad roster. Like,
yeah, there's no athlete. Who's the athlete on the club?
It's not a good roster. The athletes, they were in AAA all year. They just came up.
So let's talk about.
It just came up a couple days ago.
We'll end everything on that note and just show a little bit of love to. Let me get this one here. Estevan Florial hit his first major league home run.
Good for him.
Looking at that on the screen right now. Greg Allen has also added, as I call them both, Goat Allen and Upper Echelon Florial. They've added a little bit of fun. It was funny that everybody was saying, "Oh, well, now they're playing boonie ball because they added two guys that are a little bit fast." No, that's not the case. There's no such thing as boonie ball, folks. Stop it. Like, there's no such thing. There's pee-wee boonie ball maybe, but not regular ball.
Not for sale, Francis.
It's not for sale, Francis.
Oh my man, I can't tell you, bro. Listen, saying like you're saying, shout out to Greg Allen, Flo, Ryan
Lamar, yep.
I'll give Brantley his flowers. Trey Ambergy, you got the call up, but short lived.
Your boy Park, man, he got beat down. He just came. It was like a tease. It was like an absolute tease.
Hoy Park, the Hoy Park thing is that will
analytics hate him.
That will forever live in infamy to me, because it's like, okay, if our analytics people hate him,
what are they seeing Tyler Wade?
But he's having
that's what I want to know.
That's one thing. But the other thing to me is like, okay, you hate this guy. He's having an amazing season in AAA. Probably drummed up some value for himself. You don't like him. Why not trade him?
Yeah, for something. And oh my God, I got a crazy idea. Get this. Do you think anybody will give up a halfway decent relief pitcher for him before you throw out Krisky again and Nelson and Sal Romano? You did a good job, my fellow Italian. You probably make a hell of a pizza. I guarantee it. I saw the way you look, Sal. Sally boy. I saw how you look, Sal.
Sal looked like he owned
Sal
a
makes
pizza
the
shop
he
in
makes
Brooklyn.
the best meatball parmesan you've ever had in your life.
With the garlic knots for free on the side.
Sal.
You want the knots or what? You want them?
Sal.
Put them in the bag. Come on, let's go. I got to pitch tonight.
Sal will keep the cannoli. I'll tell you right now. Sal will keep the cannoli. But my point, I mean, don't you think that's a possibility? To say,
of course it's a possibility.
We can make that useful for right now.
To me, it's not even like possibility. Like, are you kidding me? You could probably get a good reliever and then like a, halfway, like maybe good reliever for Ahoy Park right now.
Yeah,
just because
I'm sure
it's like
there's a team out there that needs an infielder.
He's having a good season, and the Yankees don't seem like they have a space for him in the infield, but like we could probably use them. So we'll send this arm over there with this other like, low end to maybe mid quality arm. That's not a big deal. Why not do that? No, our analytics hate him, so we're going to call him out, give him one at bat, make him ride the bench for a couple games, and then, outright him back.
Yeah, we'll just leave him in AAA because that's valuable to us. that literally does something for us. If you don't see him as a bench guy, you don't see this guy above Tyler Wade. What are you doing with him? At least get something. Get some AAA arms for him. I mean, really.
I just really like it's gonna sound stupid to a lot of people, but I just really feel like it's like, all right, this guy's doing good. You put him in, and if he starts, doing what he was doing in AAA, then you're faced with a pretty big problem because, like, do you DFA Odor to keep Ahoy Park on the roster? Do you move Gleyber Torres off of his position? Do you get rid of a Tyler Wade to keep a guy like that? If Hoy Park comes up and starts killing shit, yeah, it'd be good for us as a team. But if you're Cashman, it's a lot of work.
True.
It's a lot of work.
True.
Because now you got to figure out, okay, well, when all these guys start coming back, like, what do I do to keep this guy on the field? And could I survive taking him off the field if he's producing at a really high level? So it's like, shit, maybe don't even give him the time. Like, just give him one at bat. Okay, you got that out of your system. Okay, sit your butt down. We'll have you back at AAA in a week. No sweat. Yep. Don't worry about it.
All I hope, so here's my hope regarding the whole thing, is that when a guy like a Greg Allen calls up, and everybody knows it, Greg Allen's a better fourth outfielder at this moment of their career than Brett Gardner is. Gardner's still got a double and all that. I get it. Gardner's still gonna get a hit every now and then.
Yeah, but he had a home run the other day too.
Let's look at the overall picture here. Let's not be silly. Let's look at the overall picture here. Greg Allen will be a better fourth outfielder. Estevan Florial will be a better fourth outfielder. Estevan Florial, I thankfully, I could say Yes Network. I liked hearing what they've said about him. David Cohn said it multiple times. This kid looks like a legitimate ball player. He has that mentality about him. You can see that he's passionate. It's nice to see somebody a bit passionate in the outfield, or you could tell if he gets upset if he an out or anything. But everything about that kid screams athlete. He has all the tools in the world, just putting it all together. And he's here. He's here, right? He's here. He's there. He's ready for him to do it now.
Yep.
They're giving him a little bit of a shot, but today, again, he's benched for Gardner. And there's a lefty in there. If you don't know much about Florial actually hits lefties. So lefties is not something that really scares him off. But I'm not harping on that. Where I'm getting at is, whoever the GM is, whether, again, it's Brian Cashman next year, which it probably will be, hopefully he recognized something out of this, right? Is that maybe some of the guys you don't believe are that useful could be useful, actually. And they could make a difference to your club. So I made that video the other day basically tearing apart this Michael K. Boonie Ball nonsense, saying that, they got these guys on the team that all of a sudden they're stealing. All of a sudden they're bunting. All of a sudden they're going first to third. I looked at their top 15 batters. I broke down 10 of them. I left 5 out. The 10 guys I broke down were guys that no doubt about it could go first to third. No doubt about it can move guys over. Not all of them could bunt, and they shouldn't bunt. But all year, right? All year goes by. You got Frazier getting a lot of these at-bats. He's on. They said 170. I never seen him go for a bunt. Never. Never seen him do it. I never seen Gleyber Torres and all of a sudden, let's give Boone all this credit in the world. He told Gleyber the other night, if you see one good pitch after that, you bunt. Where was that all year, Booney? Where was that all year?
All this year, all last year.
So I don't want to hear the crap that you added Florial and Allen, and now all of a sudden your team changed that you can do all this madness. No. This should have been happening for a while. Once you recognize, unfortunately, after 30-plus games, we got to try to play a little different baseball. We got to take some risk. We got to do hit and runs with guys. If there's a guy on base and LeMahieu comes up, we got to hit and run. If there's a guy on base and Andujar is up when he was up here, he always puts the ball in play. We got to look for a hit and run there. Torres, you got the guys for it. I don't want to hear that crap that you don't. So hopefully Brian Cashman gets that and he sees that. And maybe you see a different bench next year. Maybe you see a different style bench. Maybe you see speed off that bench again. Maybe you see athleticism in the outfield somewhere. Whether it's you get a center fielder, you move on from Hicks. But it's like my pops told me today. Hicks will be the center fielder next year. But you end up, getting a left fielder or something, or a guy like Florio gets the shot out there. Maybe you get a righty bat to platoon with him for a little bit until he shows overall he can handle this level. But I don't know. I don't think this guy changes much. I think his philosophy is going to be somewhat of the same, and it's going to be more of the same shit. So we'll see what happens at the deadline. But honestly, I got Ajita. I'm out of my Atlanta. My throat's bothering me. And I'm done with hopefully next week maybe we'll have a little something more interesting to talk about, because at the end of the day, I mean, the deadline's going to be here. This team just lost again to Boston 2 in a row now. We can't beat the Red Sox. We're 9 games back, 5 out of the wild card. 2 more games against the Red Sox. We'll see how those go. You guys will know it while you watch. And yeah, man, that's the way I'm feeling right now as a Yankee fan.
And it's not getting much better. We got a lot of games against the Red Sox left still. So we got a series against Tampa Bay right after that. So yeah, let's see. Like you said, I look forward to next week. I know we're supposed to do a round table sometime around the trade deadline. So you guys should definitely look out for that. I'm sure it's going to be it's going to be interesting one way or the other. No matter what the Yankees do,
either way,
no matter what the record is, we're gonna cover it, and we'll be entertaining at the very least. So definitely tune in. And dude, we're we're in a tough situation right now. So let's see. That's really all I can tell you guys. Listen, let's see, guys. Let's see what happens. But I wouldn't have my hopes up too crazy. 2021's looking like it's swirling. It's swirling down the toilet bowl right now. It's still there. It's still in the bowl, but it's swirling. It's swirling right now.
Oh, man. So, we'll see. Look at this, Jeff. Let me just throw this out there real quick. Jeff Passan. This guy's really an ass.
He's becoming a piece of work, isn't he?
He's an ass. He really is. So, I don't know.
You just saw that he responded to Fuzzy, right?
Yeah, he responded to Fuzzy, and he goes, "Nothing, you clown."
Yeah. He's a clown.
And then they go, Jeff Passan's another body, kill streak. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, no, then you got people tweeting he killed someone. Who cares, man?
Okay, you guys are too much. Twitter, got to get off Twitter. Actually, matter of fact, don't get off Twitter. Go follow Francis. The following count is going up. I see that. I check like it's my own thing. I check like it's my own. I'm always looking. I
appreciate that, man. That's support.
I'm always looking.
Yeah, people are doing a good job.
Hey, but guys, I don't want to jump ahead of myself, but I got to make an announcement real quick too. You know whose face you're gonna start seeing on NY News? Killer Joe.
Woo!
Killer Joe. And I hope Joe don't get mad at me. But Killer Joe is creating a setup, folks. That is stupid. And Killer Joe even told me the other day, he goes, "Pete, look, man. Killer Joe, sometimes, he comes out of nowhere, left field. He's like, Pete, oh, man, Joe, what's good? What's up, Joe? Is there a problem? What's going on?" And he just told me what's up. He sent me some pictures of what the setup looking like. It's looking stupid, man. You might be seeing Killer Joe on the screen soon.
Oh, man.
Be careful what you wish for.
Not even ready. I mean, that's the thing. Is that's my whole thing. Is are you guys even ready to see him in that way? Listen, once the cat's out of the bag, can't get the cat back in.
No. And by the way, too, a highlight of the week for me. I think we even lost the game though. I think it was yesterday. Odor homered yesterday. Was that the game he homered, Odor?
Yes, I think it
Fenway,
was.
right? Yeah, I think it was yesterday.
Yeah.
I got up to go to the fridge to get some gabagool. I missed it.
Oh yeah.
that was the thing. I missed it. I couldn't believe. I was happy.
Oh yeah.
But the Italian meat to get you, bro. The Italian meat to get you.
It's not about watching this team. Just makes you hungry, right?
Yeah. You get you get a little bit depressed, and the first thing you think about, I'm a little hungry. You might be bored though, but
you get a little snack.
Yeah, you get a little snack. You start eating.
Get me over gabagool.
Gabagool, get me over gabagool. That's it. That's a new shirt. Get me over gabagool. Get me over gabagool.
They got to go with those get me over fastballs that end up being put over the fence.
That's it. All right, folks. So once again, it is another episode of the one, the only Designated Spittaz here with myself and Francis.
You already know, man. The next episode is the best episode.
That's right. Look out for that Pee Wee Boone. Pee Wee Booty.
Pee Wee Boone.
Catch you guys soon.
Yeah,